Hey friends, Ash here. Hope that you're doing well. It is 2025. Hopefully it's gonna be a great year, knock on wood. Let's kick the beginning part of the year off right with 10 different newer clone fragrances that everybody should know about. I'm not saying buy all of them, I'm just saying know about them. This is a difference. This is a difference there.
Explain yourself.
I've got fragrances today from our Moff, Latte, Fragrance World, and more. All of them are linked in the description. Feel free to check them out down there. We're kicking things off though, not with the Latte, not with an Moff, not with the Fragrance World, but with a collage. And it's this one right here, Cafe Latte. Cafe Latte. To me, the bottle looks a little bit on the cheap side, right? It's not like the fanciest looking Middle Eastern bottle, but it's what's on the inside that counts. We learned that early on, and it stays true. So this one is a clone of Mancera's Amore Cafe. Now the name makes sense. Color scheme, obviously more feminine leaning, has this kind of like peachy, pinky color tone to it. But as far as the fragrance itself, it is stupid close to the Mancera. I don't know if you noticed that. It's got a pretty nice atomizer. Now, if you don't know about Amore Cafe, that is one of Mancera's more hyped, newer releases. It's a sweet coffee fragrance. So do be aware of that. We're not talking coffee like a rich, deep, dark roast coffee. Syrupy, sweet, but very attention grabbing. And this one is, like I said, very, very close to the Mancera, but it also has that power like the Mancera. So you want to be a little bit careful with this one. I actually made a mistake of spraying this one on a little bit too heavy. It was not enjoyable. I sprayed it on up here in my clavicles. Oh my God. Honestly, it felt like I was wearing a hazmat suit with the fragrance being pumped into the hazmat suit where I couldn't escape. It was like just absolutely making my head feel like it was going to explode. But I guess as long as you don't mind really strong, sweet fragrances, you could spray it on there in your collarbones and be fine. But for me, it was a little overwhelming. So in terms of the note breakdown for Amore Cafe, which again is what this is a clone of, it has ice cream as one of the notes, along with coffee, amaretto, vanilla, and brown sugar. And this is absurdly close to that fragrance for a much lower price point. Let's see which one next. How about this one? This is Coco Morado from French Avenue, which comes in that very familiar bottle style, more well known for housing liquid brune. This one though is not a clone of a Parfums de Marly fragrance. It's actually a clone of a Maison Crivelli release. And that fragrance is Oud Cadenza, which makes some sense, I guess, because there's also Azure Oud in the same line, same bottle style, which is a fragrance clone of Oud Maracuja from the same brand. Now, in terms of notes, there are a lot, like a lot. I'll hit you with some of the main ones here, but I'm not gonna give you the full note breakdown because it's frankly too much. I know sometimes I complain about fragrances only having 3 notes, but I don't need 33 notes. You know, somewhere in between there, somewhere in between 3 and 33, that'd be good. So anyway, it has a bunch of spice in there. You have cinnamon, you have cardamom, you've got saffron, nutmeg. There's also oud, of course. Again, it's a clone of Oud Cadenza. Good amount of sweet notes in here as well. You have caramel, dates, myrrh, bit of incense, vanilla, tonka, leather. Like I said, there's just a whole lot going on. And the oud that's in here is not fecal, it's not dirty. It's obviously, with all those notes that I just read off, more of a sweet kind of oud, but it does pack a punch. Really strong, great performance, big longevity. It's the type of fragrance that absolutely is gonna be for fall and winter, leaning more toward winter, but the quality is fantastic with this one, just like the other fragrances in this line in this bottle style. So that's Coco Morado. Let's move on. Next up, let's talk about this one, the Pride of our Moff. But not just the normal Pride of our Moff. No, this is the Admiral edition, or just the Pride of our Moff Admiral. Which I do actually really like the color scheme. Pretty cool. I think this would look really good on a car, like a sports car. Kind of this like deep teal color. Now this one's been out for a little bit, but I had just never gotten around to buying it until here recently. And it's actually a clone of Invictus Victory Elixir. And nowadays there are a lot of alternatives to that fragrance out there. There's a bunch of different clones of Invictus Victory Elixir, but still this one is really well done. It wasn't too expensive. It cost me like 25 bucks from JOMASHOP, so I just chucked it in there with like 10 other things. In terms of notes, very similar to Invictus Victory Elixir. It's got lavender as vanilla. There's pink pepper, cardamom, incense, amber, and tonka as well. It's got great versatility. I think you could wear this fall, winter, spring, maybe, you know, summer evenings also, because it has that sweetness from Invictus Victory Elixir, like you would expect of a fragrance in that style, I mean, but it also has a nice, fresh aspect to it. You know, it's not like overwhelmingly sweet. I think it's actually really, really well done. One of the better alternatives to Invictus Victory Elixir. And if you're looking for something that's kind of in that style, in that wheelhouse, but not quite as heavily sweet, and like I said, with a little bit more of like a slight freshness to it, that is a great choice. Before we head to the next fragrance, guys, here's some codes you can use to save money across different websites. Be aware those JOMASHOP codes are a-changing, and they only work within the JOMASHOP app as well, which essentially is just the JOMASHOP website turned into an app. All the other codes for FragFlex, for the perfume box, for Max Aroma stay the same, and you can use those anytime you're shopping to save yourself a little money, which actually I used my JOMASHOP code when I purchased this along with a bunch of other things. Now another French Avenue. This one is called Royal Blend Vintage. Now when you take a look at this one, you're probably gonna be thinking to yourself, oh, Angel Share, because that's really what the original Royal Blend was a clone of. And this is one that when I picked it up, I wasn't sure exactly what it was supposed to be, because at the time that I scooped it up, there wasn't much info on this one. Gave it a couple sprays, like so, and right away was like, oh yeah, that ain't Angel Share. Nah, not close. And actually the very first thing it reminded me of was a By Kilian fragrance called Single Malt, which is so flippin' good. But if you're aware of Single Malt, then you know what this is and you know where this is leading. It's actually a clone of By Kilian's Old Fashioned, which while it's a newer release, smells similar in a lot of ways to Single Malt. And it is just awesome. Mainly because it scratches that single malt itch in my brain, which Old Fashioned can do that too, but yeah. It's boozy, it's sweet, but not in like a bubblegum sort of way. Has a great underlying woody aspect to the fragrance also. It is the type of fragrance that maybe leans a little more into the booziness than some fragrances. So the way it comes across in this one is, to me, absolutely magnetic. I think it smells fantastic, but you know, somebody might smell it and be like, oh, you had a couple drinks? No, brother, that's just my fragrance. But also, yes, I have.
I'm hammered at this moment.
Top-notch stuff. This is really, really, really well done. And if you're looking for an alternative or a clone to By Kilian's Old Fashioned, check this out. Up next, let's talk about this one. It is Ofon Supremacy, the collector's edition. And this one I bought actually not long after it hit discounters. And I had covered this one in a This Week in Fragrance video, and I said at the time, you know, it looks like it's probably gonna be an absolute Aventus alternative, and especially looking at that color scheme, kind of what it's reminiscent of, right? And that's pretty much what it is. It's a different take on Absolute Aventus. Now, the most well-known alternative to Absolute Aventus is gonna be Moff's Club de Nuit Perseus 1, but this one is right there with it. It's just as good. Could remind you a little bit of like Absolute Aventus with like a little smattering of Sauvage Elixir to it as well. It's nice, rich, very masculine. It's got pineapple and bergamot off the top, so it gives you this nice fruity pop, a little bit of sweetness there. Amber, birch, ambergris as it dries down. It has great performance, very solid longevity, great projection, so it has pretty much everything you would want in an Absolute Aventus style fragrance. And just like that scent, it's gonna have great complement factor, huge versatility, wear it pretty much whenever you want, daytime or nighttime. The only potential drawback with this one is it's an Aventus style fragrance. And there are a lot of those out there. Now, technically, like I said, it's Absolute Aventus, so I guess that's a little bit different, but I would say easily, for men, the most cloned fragrance of all time, whether we're talking designers, niche, indie, or actual clone brands, is Aventus. So after a while, you know, all of those do start to run together, and it starts to be something where you're like, oh my God, I don't need Another one of these, I don't care. So there is that. But if you're looking for a solid Absolute Aventus alternative, that one is really well done. Next up, we got Rayhan's Lion. I feel like there's a lot of lion stuff going on right now in the clone world. As if all the brands got together and they were like, you know what's cool? Friggin' lions. Lions are cool. I want a lion fragrance. You're gonna have a lion fragrance. We all gonna have a lion fragrance. And this is Rayhan's. So I'm not exactly sure how I feel about the bottle. Like, part of it looks nice. I'm kind of torn on the bottle, plastic lion on the front, but it does look nicer than some of their other ones. And it does come with a magnetic cap. Oh, never mind, I love it. This is a great presentation. Oh, but it doesn't do the spin thing. Come on, man. You know, like Bleu de Chanel, Dior Sauvage, you spin the cap and it pops up. You can just spin this forever. But, you know, I'll take what I can get. Ooh, it's pretty strong too, honestly. Look at that. Nice. So Rayhan Lion, what is it? Well, I can tell you what it is. It is Ultramall. So essentially, Rayhan was doing this deal and they were like, huh, who's got something popular out there? And they spied Ofon, specifically Ofon 9 p.m. And they said, I think I can do that. It does do a great job of smelling very similar to Ultramall, which of course 9 p.m. does as well. Rayhan Lion though does pack a little extra punch to it, a little more staying power compared to 9 p.m. The main thing with this one though is gonna be the price. So you're gonna wanna kind of bump it up against 9 p.m. and see which one makes more sense to you. Because I've seen this one go for, you know, toward 20 bucks. And at that price, great. I've also seen it listed for like 45, 50. Not so great. So at the end of the day, if you're looking for a more powerful Ultramall, then you could go with this one. Just don't overpay to do so. Let's talk about this next. It's from Latte and it's Art of Wood. You gotta love all these Latte bottles that come in a similar style and just slap something on the front there. Kind of cool. So what is Art of Wood? Well, this is Perseus from Parfums de Marly, but it's got like a little twist to it. So you're gonna have that citrusy, woody aspect just like in Perseus, just like in Terre d'Hermès Eau Givre. You get that here as soon as you spray it on. But this one has like green kind of funky aspect to it. Almost like a cannabis note. Yeah, it's basically like you took Perseus and you said, you know, heck with it. You know, it'd be cool if we threw a weed note in there. That'd be pretty cool. And that apparently, that's the Art of Wood. So for some people, they're gonna smell this one and be like, ugh. Oh, no thank you, don't really like that very much. For other people, they're gonna get that little bit of funk, that little pop, and they're gonna go, ah, cool, interesting. It's well done. I mean, the quality is nice. It's still wearable, but it does have that little twist. Let's talk our Moff again, this time Checkmate King. So Checkmate King is Scandal Absolute, Jean Paul Gaultier's Scandal Absolute, which is an amazing release, and this is stupid good. Checkmate King is very, very good. This one is close to as nice of an alternative to Scandal Absolute as you're gonna find. It's well done, quality is great. It has that same warm, sexy, sweet aspect that Scandal Absolute has. It's got that compliment factor, versatility, performance, everything you want. It's not terribly expensive or anything like that. There's a lot to like about it. The only big drawback for me is actually the presentation itself. So when I bought this originally, the first one that I got in, this was all busted up. And it was packaged well. There was nothing wrong with the packaging, how it was put into the shipping box or anything like that, but it just got jostled around, you know, as happens. And when I opened this up, what had happened was this right here had somehow like bent a little bit, like the cap, and it basically snapped this whole golden part off, and it dumped the fragrance out, which I've thrown the bottle away now. I did a review on my extra channel in case you want to see like closer up. But yeah, going off of that first bottle that I got, this is kind of a weak point right here. You can almost feel it like when you pull the cap off, you know, right here, it's like, And so I feel like if I grabbed this and kind of gave it a little tug, it could snap right here, which is what happened. Outside of that, fragrance, amazing. And I did get it replaced, obviously, and this new one is fine. Yeah, Scandal Absolute, just so good. Then a new French Avenue, it's this one, and it's called Vino. I guess I'm saying that correctly, I don't know. Vino. An interesting presentation. You've got a couple snakes here on the front. You got a little snake design on the bottle on the back. And I just want to point out once again that like these little snakes, they're getting around. They're pretty popular. Check it out. Teriyaki Intense, snake. Ophidian Mango Bliss, snake. Musamam, big snake. And now Veneno, 2 snake. Nope, 3 snake. So yeah, snakes are in right now. Very popular. Put a cool gold snake on your bottle. Nice. Once upon a time, you wanted to put little crystals on your bottle, Club de Nuit style. Not anymore. So this one is a clone of another by Kilian. This one is Smokin' Hot, and that opening slaps. The opening here is so good, assuming that you like a really nice sweet apple tobacco. There's also cinnamon, there's vanilla. It's perfect for fall and winter time. Again, quality very high here. Second you spray it on, you can go in for a whiff. It is top notch, and you get 3 snakes. What is there not to love? And last but not least, the new Club de Nuit. It is Lionart Man, because anytime a new Club de Nuit comes out, it's kind of a big deal. And this one is a clone of Le Male Elixir from Jean Paul Gaultier, which is kind of popular. Now, it's not the first Le Male Elixir clone. There are a few of them out there nowadays. And for the most part, I would say, at least looking at the current pricing, Lattaf's The Kingdom might be a better buy for more people. That one's also a clone of Le Male Elixir. It's just a bit cheaper than this one because it's not quite as new, and it's not a Club de Nuit. That being said, there's not like a massive gulf in terms of price between the two. This one you can find for about 35 bucks. It's not a bad price, but Lattaf's The Kingdom is about 25, so, you know, $10 less. Now, as far as how this one comes across compared to Le Male Elixir, if you spray this on and you don't have Le Male Elixir around, but you're familiar with the fragrance, you'll smell that and go, oh, it's the same. If you do it side by side, you'll go, oh, it's close, but it's not the same. This one is a little more aromatic. You have more of like a mintiness off the top, a little bit more green. You still have that overall Le Male Elixir feel to it. You have that nice sweetness, that richness you would expect from a Le Male Elixir style fragrance. But overall, the Jean Paul Gaultier is gonna be a little bit deeper. This one is slightly fresher. It's still close enough though that it's gonna do the same things, wear at the same time, same places, and the quality is fantastic with this. So there we go, guys. 10 different newer clone fragrances that you need to know about heading into 2025. And if 2025 is anything like 2024, there's gonna be a lot of new stuff coming out this year. Oh man. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Thank you for your support over the years. Stay safe out there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.